afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining us from, and feel welcome and feel at home and at peace. That is how we say it in Senegal, Jam Rek, feel at peace. So welcome to this series of webinar. Today is the second webinar on the series of exploring the future of well-being. And today our topic is on community-centered partnership for well-being. My name is Godfrey Okumu, and I will be your host. So as you already know, today we are going to be talking about how innovative partnership can be built around community well-being, and in particular in ways that can help women and girls and their community to improve across a range of areas. Personally, I had a very interesting experience when I first joined Tostan. I thought I knew Tostan when I joined because I'd already attended the Tostan training at the Tostan Training Center, and I learned a lot about the community empowerment program. I also did field visit and all that. But what I discovered after, when I continued to learn more about Tostan, is that Tostan was doing amazing things quietly, like training and partnering with local organizations and government for many years. This experience, which goes back to Tostan founding, has always shaped our programming. As now, most recently, our strategic efforts are taking partnership and training to a new level and bigger scale. Because from our learnings, we have been able to shape our programming and integrate more different aspects of enhancing partnership and training, all across the way we share, the way we collaborate, and also the way we work with communities, local partners, national organizations, faith-based organizations, government, and alongside many global stakeholders as well. And in Nigeria, where I am right now actually, and we have been doing a lot of activities with support from Ford Foundation and Nigeria for Women Project, we've learned a lot that partnership is key in ensuring that we are able to achieve a community of well-being that is holistic and more sustainable. So, and I'm really excited with being here and also learning, and also excited with the session today because it's connected with my reason for being in Nigeria. So today we have amazing presenters with us whom will share what they are doing within the organization and how leadership roles are taking place within the organization, and how partnership is growing within the organization to the next level to support women and girls. So with us today, we have Olufunke Baruwa of Ford Foundation. I know Nigerian names can be difficult for me for Ford Foundation. She's a program officer, very passionate about women empowerment and gender issues. We also have Imam Uthman, Animashawun from NASFAT, who is also very, very passionate about community development and is working at NASFAT as an imam and also supporting different things. And also with us, we have Madam Ruth Mshelia, the National Project Coordinator. And also from our last webinar, the first series of webinar that we had, we received feedback about on requests that they were requesting for more time for questions. So today we will create time for questions because we'll be having two sections of this webinar. And after each session, we'll be having a Q&A session instead of having it at the end of this session as normally it happens. So feel free to drop your question on the chat box and also contribute in the conversation. And also to let you know is that we also have interpretation channels. We have, if you want to get interpretation in French, feel free, and in English, you can choose that option underneath the text box, next to the text box. So now I'll start with the first section. And now we are going to dive deep into partnership and role of partners and how these contributes in achieving the journey of well-being. And here today we have three complementary perspectives. So the floor is open and I will request to start with Imam Uthman. Imam Uthman, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Godfrey. It's nice being here once again. And I'm very happy that you are here with us in Nigeria. And Tostan, for us, Tostan is a home. And I really want to go into what you have asked us to shed more light on. And that is the new ways of working. You see, in the religion of Islam, the constant thing in life, we all know that the constant or the most constant thing in life is change. And the Islamic Sharia, which we call the Islamic rules, the rules guiding the religion of Islam, is so dynamic that it accommodates every new thing that life brings up, innovations, inventions. We have ways of accommodating them in the religion of Islam. And in fact, this is because God has informed us in the Quran that particularly that we have made people pass through the different turns of history. Things will change, things will continue to change, new inventions will come up, and we need to address them. And the Muslims, and especially religious leaders, cannot and must not be left out or even behind in this. Imams are now getting out of their traditional rules of leading salat, the 5 daily prayers, coordinating or conducting social functions like marriages, naming ceremonies, and funerals, or teaching in Arabic schools. Imams are now assuming the modern rules of mediating amongst warring people, warring factions, and participating in activities that bring about the well-being in the society. And also partnership with CSOs and non-governmental organizations. Even the traditional rules that our imams or some Muslims play in the areas of naming ceremonies, funerals, we use that opportunity to bring about or promote the essence of community well-being. And when we talk about partnering, my organization, for instance, NASFAT, has been partnering with organizations such as the Carter Center, and of recent, we partner with Rosberg Institute for Social Enterprise. We are about 10 of us, including my sister Sadia, who is with us here. We did a training online MBA program in humanitarian social enterprise. And the program is designed for everyone addressing local needs, clean water, balanced nutrition, breathable air, renewable energy, quality education, reliable healthcare, secure habitat, and so on and so forth. But Tostan stands out unique in terms of the partnership, the partners that we have worked with. Because Tostan has continued on a year-in, year-out basis, provide them training grounds, provide training for our members. And talking about major takeaways from Tostan, in my capacity as the National Dawah Officer and also the Secretary of the Mission Board, when we have programs, workshops, seminars, and lectures, we talk about the adding or infusing the Tostan experience in everything we do, so that it will be very, very educative. And when I talk about the Tostan experience, I want to highlight about 3 or 4 things. Number one is that we start with the end in mind. We also ensure that there is active involvement in the process of activities by all participants. And we also vary the methodologies used during the sessions, involving the participants in different aspects. You can tell stories, practical involvement. Each member will play one role, role play method and so on and so forth. So these are things that we took out from Tostan. And also, it is also important to say that at the end of everything, or at the end of each segment of the workshop or training or seminar, you want to look at what are the major takeaways that each participant have taken. So this is very, very important to us. And as partners, we continue to remember to stand and we continue to say it to the world that we are highly indebted to stand. I don't know if I have more time.
No, thank you. Thank you, Imam Uthman. Thank you very much for sharing those amazing perspectives on how partnership is changing and the new roles that religious leaders are taking. Now I will hand it over to Madam Ruth to also share with us the experience from the government. Welcome, Madam Ruth.
Okay, thank you, Godfrey. Thank you, Uthman, for those insightful presentation and submission. Thank you very much. Yeah, from the government side, let me start by introducing the project that is the Nigeria for Women project. It's a flagship project under the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs in Abuja. It's a national project aimed to support women's access to social and financial capital for improved livelihood opportunities in targeted communities of Nigeria. The project development objective is to support improved livelihood of women in targeted areas. And when we say targeted areas, what are we looking at? The design of the project in the phase 1. The project is designed in 3 phases. Phase 1 is 5-year. The project started in 2018 and is supposed to close by 2023. And the second phase will come like that. So for the first phase, the project has targeted 6 states according to the geopolitical zone of the country. So the project aims to socio-economically empower women in Nigeria by galvanizing the creation and strengthening of social capital and improve access to productive livelihoods and financial support. And to achieve this, the project is currently investing in partnership and innovations. Building partnership is core to us and in ensuring and promoting collective well-being plus sustainability. We are currently witnessing growing women collectives or affinity group at the grassroots level. Partnership models are changing because the government is now open to developing new partnership with organizations, scaling social innovations models. One of it is the Tostan, which is evidence-based. Like you are aware, Godfrey, Elena, and our one and only Molly. We had a very good time in Senegal, attending the training on community well-being, which has been very interesting. And it has even, we went along with government, like Godfrey mentioned, from the 5 participating states. All the permanent secretaries were part of the participants in Senegal for the training. We started with a 3-day workshop in Nigeria, and then scaling it up to Senegal. And it has been interesting because that has given us a lot of opportunity. We've had the in-house meetings, trainings, and then we visited so many community in Senegal, which has been life-touching. I think it's a lifetime memory, which we cannot forget. And that has been so inspiring. And the government has really taken it, in fact, beyond government, but as a personal investment on this, the issue of strengthening community well-being. And we are happy the state representatives are there, the state project coordinators were there, and it has been, and as we speak, we've had several meetings with Tostan in seeing how we can domesticate such a type of prototype of, let me say, prototype of Tostan model in Nigeria, which we look at it as a kind of center for learning in Nigeria that other organizations, both government and other institutions can leverage on and learn on that. So like I said, Tostan as a model and has shown impact over time. Another thing I want to mention in terms of government partnership, like I said, I had to rush from a meeting to come here. As I speak to you, I'm speaking from Lagos, Nigeria, together with different partners. We have the development partners, UN Women, UNDP, Central Bank of Nigeria, SMEDAN, and so on and so forth, with the World Bank representative and so many development partners, as well as government, ministry, department, and agencies. And it has been a very insightful and very eye-opening meeting. I had to take permission to come for this webinar. So in addition to Tostan, so many partnership has been a very kind of something that the government is embracing, because you learn from here, you touch from there, and you scale up. So we are also investing in the building partnership with private sector. Like I mentioned earlier, we have the CSO and religious leaders network across Nigeria. Part of it is what we'll be looking forward with Godfrey, now that he's in Nigeria. We've started discussion with the permanent secretary as well as the honorable minister. So before Godfrey left, well, we'll be able to have, I think, a 3-day meeting workshop with the government as well as CSO, and see how we can seal this partnership. We are also working on strengthening community-led structures with the help of the state's government, which I mentioned. They were in Senegal, and it has been interesting. So in fact, it's like a competition. Each state wants, I want to have that model. Say, let's have a pilot. Everyone wants to have a pilot in the state. So it's been awesome, and partnership is something that is welcoming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Thank you very much for those inciting words. And I know you are really passionate about this. And that is why it's great for you to share. We're welcome. And now let me turn it over to Funke to also share from another lens as founders. What is your perspective? Welcome, Funke.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. And I would like to say thank you to Imam Uthman and Madam Ruth for laying the basis for this conversation. But truly, they have sort of summed up how partnership is looking for us now in the 21st century, particularly for us as donors on this end. We're looking more at diversity and inclusion. It has become really important to have the diversity of voices and ideas across the table as we partner to do our work. And COVID-19 and the technological wave that we now have has also helped us to be able to meet and extend partnership across time zones. I mean, we're all in different places at the moment. We're not in one place, but we're still able to work together. And those barriers that used to limit how we work together as organizations, oh, we're not in the same country, or we can't do this project together because we're not in the same region, all those have faded, into the past. COVID-19 has made it possible for us to be able to work across regions and across different time zones. And also partnership is being redefined, and everyone needs to get on board that new train. Wake up and smell the coffee. Partnership is not what we used to see it as. It's now more dynamic than ever before. For us also, it's no longer the typical donor-grantee relationship, but partnership now recognizes that we can no longer be steeped in delusional altruism, where we believe that we are the donors and these are the partners. We are just providing resources for poor Tostan or another organization to work. No, it's been redefined. We have to do away with that delusional altruism, which makes us think that we're doing anybody a favor. But where we now as donors, we are looking at our grantees and our stakeholders now as partners, not grantees. Partners, not even stakeholders. We're all stakeholders. Everybody has a stake in how the world needs to turn out and be a better place for everyone. The third point I would like to make is that we're also then extending hands of partnership from local to regional to global. We're now thinking in a more global way. It's no longer partnership with people within where your program area or your strategic priorities focus on, but you're looking at partnership extending even beyond your focus area, extending beyond your thematic focus, and looking at how the intersections between what you do, what other partners do, and what your stakeholders are doing, and at the end of the day. So we are then now moving from the traditional partnerships that we used to have to now include non-traditional partners, like even the private sector, like the arts, for instance. On the work of GBV, for instance, we're supporting arts, guerrilla theaters, to begin to do work of advocacy that hitherto we had seen as something that civil society organizations only do as part of the advocacy and sensitization work. We're looking at even partnership beyond the regular, beyond the traditional, to look at how the private sector can come on board this stream. So partnership is changing, diversity and inclusion, it cuts across time zones, timelines, regions. We're looking at more from the local to global. What's happening at a small village in Senegal can, have a ricochet effect in another village in Nigeria or in Ghana. And we recognize that, this dynamism will continue to happen. And we're also reaching out our hands of friendship and partnership beyond the traditional partners that we know to other partners that are non-traditional partners, and continuing to be more innovative and also to test the waters as this fits into our current realities or even emerging realities, because nobody, for instance, imagined COVID. Nobody imagined 2020 and 2021. So partnerships that are very innovative, that can respond to change, to drastic changes, that's what we're doing. And also doing away, particularly with delusional altruism. No longer grantees, no longer, rich donors giving money to poor partners. No, it's partnership, and we're all working together to achieve one thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Funke, and thank you very much for those insightful comments and submission. Actually, partnership is key, and everyone should see everyone as a partner, because all of us are stakeholders. We have a stake. So partnership and seeing everyone as contributing is key. Thank you, Funke. Thank you, Ruth and Uthman, for your submission. Now it's question time before we move to the next session. And we still request you to drop your question on the chat box. And now I'll take the opportunity to read. We have one question here from Julia. The question, I think, goes to all the panelists. What is the standout opportunity for transforming the lives of women and girls in Nigeria from your perspective? I realize that asking you to be simplistic, and we all work holistically, but it would be good to understand each of you. Yeah, I hope the question is clear. What is the standout opportunity for transforming the lives of women and girls in Nigeria from your perspective? I will start with Uthman.
Okay. From my own perspective, which is, I represent an organization that we have about 250 locations around the world. We are in Ghana, we are in the UK, in Europe, we are in the US, Canada, we are in so many countries, and majority of our members are women, and our organization is women focused, and we try as much as possible to ensure that we take care of our teaming members of our congregation. The girl, child, and women are focused. From the point of view of the religion of Islam, the woman is the female individual is seen as very key to the well-being of the society, and she is adequately taken care of. Number one, her rights must not be trampled upon, and she is not seen as a second-class citizen, not seen as a second-class human being. She occupies a very, very enviable position. For instance, now, as a girl child, as a daughter, the female individual is a key. If the father especially takes care of her very well, he is the passport to paradise. And also as a wife, our Prophet Muhammad said that the best among you is the best to his family and the wife. And in fact, a description of the woman in the sight of our Prophet Muhammad is that this world is a place of convenience. There are many good things in this world, but the best thing that one can have is a righteous wife, a good woman. And as a mother, we are told in Islam that paradise lies underneath the feet of our mother. And that shows how our religion has described women. And that is why, because we are a religious organization, NASFAT, we are a religious organization where we focus on what our religion teaches. So we do so many things. For instance, in the last Sunday, normally I have a weekly Sunday Asalatu session, we call it. We dedicated a segment of our day, of our Sunday program to the girl child. We raise issues concerning the girl child, and we also pray for the girl child. So this was done throughout all NASFAT locations around the world, which are about 350. Then the Sunday before the last, we had the grand finale of our Women's Week, the annual Women's Week, where we emphasized, we discussed issues concerning the strategies for ending security, strategies for women in ending insecurities in our society. So these are issues that we are focused on in trying to champion the cause of the women folk. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Uthman. And maybe Ruth and Funke, 1 point each on that question from Julia.
I will pass. I think that Ruth, Madam Ruth might have.
Okay, Ruth, to you now.
Okay, thank you, Madam Funke. I think this agenda is timely, hence advancing opportunities for women and girls demand joint efforts from different stakeholders, starting with the intense community engagement and partnership building at the grassroots. Like I told you, we are currently having retreat in Lagos, looking at proximity. You know, sometimes you make presentation, you need evidence. So I had to call the community beneficiaries from Ogun State, looking at Ogun closer to Lagos. They just left now to share experience with the participants at the retreat. And it's been very awesome because you see partnership, you see passion. They were able to open up and share how the project has been very impactful on them in terms of the building of social capital and a kind of sense of belonging in the community and as well as the country at large. Starting with, so our main partners are community members. And we are now learning to listen to their needs and priorities. And we are happy, like I mentioned earlier, thanks to Tostan for inspiring us. We look at some of the model Tostan shared with us, or we've seen it evidence-based. We've seen the principles of fundamental human rights, visioning, having religious leaders, the community management committee, a lot from Tostan when it comes to partnership and as well as having community ownership in projects and in development. So our project is to support women to build their own social capital and empower communities to influence social norms that hinders holistic and sustainable development. As I speak to date, we have over 7,000 women affinity groups across the 5 states. And we have over 159,000 members in this 7,000 women affinity group. As we speak to date, they are able to save total sum of 694,897,000, which is equivalent to $1.7 million US. That is amazing. So when you see this, you talk about social capital. Who is, well, let's look at the issue of politics. Who is going to influence them? They should be able to detect who are their next leaders.
Wow.
Nobody can come and tell them, no, take this and vote. Unlike before, where you are not empowered and you are voiceless. So they are economically empowered, and we try to build capacity as well. And I think they are doing good. So to date, like I mentioned, we have this number of groups, and more groups are being formed, even as we speak. And then we are going into the livelihood component. In the next 2-3 weeks, we should be able to start disbursing the livelihood grant to the these women. Like I said, these savings they are doing is not from government, it's their own personal money. But with the help of the project, they were able to be taught some kind of business skills, savings, and then how they should loan to each other. Before now, some of them, in fact, like today, the experience sharing was we used to go and borrow, and with a huge interest. Before you know, by the time you should be able to pay for the loan, the accumulated interest on that loan is another problem on its own. Some people commit suicide because of this. But with this program and with this model, the VSLA model of saving, they are able to save, and then they access the money at almost zero interest. So it's been amazing. We have a lot of success stories from the women. It's just that this is a webinar, we would have shared some of the voices from the community. So it's been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. And actually, you've even answered the question that I was going to ask next. Thank you very much. You responded to Julia and you moved next, so that is really great. So maybe at this point, I will, because I will keep your questions coming. Thank you for those amazing questions. Some of them, I see my colleagues are actually responding on the chat, which is amazing because of time. So now allow me to move to Uthman. And now I'm thinking about the role of faith and religious community as we think about how to partner to better promote well-being. Throughout my career, I have seen the essential that religious leadership can play in ensuring that communities achieve their vision of well-being. I have seen imams, as Uthman mentioned before, moving out from their expected roles into new roles. So I want to ask you, Uthman, could you tell us about what you and your imams and other religious leaders are seeing in terms of religious leaders and religious communities in supporting well-being of women and community at the grassroots? What are you seeing? What is happening, Uthman?
I want to thank Funke once again for that beautiful redefinition of a partnership. So the grantee sponsor thing, I'm very appreciative of that definition. So having said that, religious leaders of today, especially in MAP, from which I am one, we are doing a lot of things. And for instance, we use the opportunity of our pulpit on Fridays in delivering sermons to get across to our congregations, and not just the immediate our members. There are so many other people that get the messages that we do when they come. So that's number one. Then again, we also have the opportunity of infusing into what we preach and teach the issues about community well-being, issues covering about human rights, and so on and so forth, in ensuring that all these things are properly understood. Because at times, there are a lot of misconceptions about what the religion teaches and what we do. And in appreciating what the scripture says, we find that Islam itself is not many things that we now praise can also be found in our religious books. And a lot of things that people do in the name of religion is actually not right, not correct, because we cannot find references for them in the Quran, or at times misinterpretation of the issues in the religion. Well, at NASFAT here, we do collaborate with other member organizations, other Muslim organizations, other faith-based organizations, apart from Islam, where we work together to see to the well-being of the community. And as the secretary of the mission board of my organization, I have the opportunity to talk about, to prescribe or recommend them to my boss, the chief missioner, what topic are we to discuss, and also write the synopsis of the topics we are to discuss as our sermons, our Friday sermon in all our locations around the world. And I use that opportunity to infuse issues about community well-being, using Tostan experience, and issues about human rights, issues about the rights of the girl child, issues about the women, and so on and so forth. So it is important for us, for me to mention that in our organization, we have programs for widows and the aged, and this is ongoing. The focal person for the NASFAT Tostan partnership, or the NASFAT Tostan, NASFAT Qatar Center partnership is here with us, and she's doing a lot concerning widows. And the humanitarian online Masters in Business Administration program that we have just ended, we have to present a venture project. Each student is to present a venture project. And my sister presented a venture project that is based not only on widows, but also women in general. So these are issues, these are ways that we partners. Then it is also important that we do a lot of writing articles, publishing in the social media, in the traditional media, and we use the opportunity of this media to propagate what we have learned. A lot of our imams and our female members have been to Senegal in chess have been exposed to the Tostan experience, Tostan model. These are some of the issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uthman. Thank you very much for those insightful submissions and sharing. As Uthman has said, and also Ruth has said, a lot is happening actually in the ground, and we are seeing that things are changing, partnership models are evolving, and also seeing religious leaders taking up new roles. Those are some of the things that traditionally were not expected, but now they are getting out of their normal spaces, getting into the community to support, and that is really amazing. And also seeing the government, seeing permanent secretaries interested in what is happening in the community, that is also really inspiring. So now to Funke, I'm just wondering about supporting all this as a founder, and what role do you see also funders playing in all this? And also from your side, what is changing? What are you realizing from this submission? And what is not changing in terms of programming that can help in ensuring that women and girls and the entire community achieves a community of well-being? Welcome, Funke.
Your question is four-pronged, but I would probably answer it in one or two paragraphs, statements, to say that, yes, funders do have a critical role to play in ensuring that resources are accessible and not restrictive. But I don't want to limit that to funders alone, but to say that government and all stakeholders, have a critical role to play. All those who can provide the kind of resources needed to move the needle of development in this field. So funders just play a tiny bit of that role. Also, but to focus more on what role funders particularly are going to be playing in all of this, and in your question about what is changing and what isn't changing, I would like to say that really, particularly for funders, funders would need to be more intentional about how we are supporting or partnering, like I would like to say. Because when you say supporting, it gives it that impression like you're just helping people. And I don't like to use that word because, I'm glad that Imam Uthman liked that conversation, because it's the truth. We are, without partners, without our grantees, we're not able to achieve the strategic objectives and priorities that we set out to achieve. And being intentional about that is ensuring that resources are accessible, number one, and that they are not restrictive, and that they are flexible. So those three, those are the responsibilities of funders. Funders must ensure that these resources are accessible to international partners, accessible to local partners, accessible to local, regional, community-based organizations, regardless of where you are spread out, and that they're not restrictive. In the past, we've had so much restrictive funding where we just say, it is for this project, it's for that. I mean, I always say that COVID was a leveler. It leveled the playing field for a lot of people and showed funders that there has to be a change in how, or a shift in how we make resources available. Doesn't mean that we don't plan, but you can't plan for everything. And that the funding needs to be as flexible as possible. The flexibility to be able to make a detour when any new innovation happens, or when you see that something is not working. Funding must have those three components. And that if they have these three components, it then ensures that we're able to support innovation, because innovation can only work in an environment that is accessible, that is not restrictive, and is flexible. And then what isn't changing? I guess what isn't going to change is the fact that we'll still insist on transparency and accountability. We'll still want to make sure that there is impact. I mean, donor funds also come with a lot of restrictions from the countries that these funds emanate from. So that won't be changing. That it's flexible, accessible, and non-restrictive will not reduce the fiduciary responsibilities that come with donor funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Funke. Thank you very much for those amazing key points. And now we are getting it like what Uthman and Ruth are shared. In real sense, actually, some things need to be thought, and we are very happy that funders are already thinking inwardly, and that is really amazing and really inspiring as well. So now, again, we are opening the floor again to questions for our attendees and our partners in this call, because now we have to be very careful with the words we use, vocabularies we use, supporting, in partnering. So we have to really, so the floor is open. Feel free to ask any question, and thanks to the Tostan team for responding to the numerous questions that have been coming in on the chat. So feel free. We only have 6 minutes to go. And this we open to any question. Feel free, drop your question on the chat box, and also appreciate our panelists for sharing such wonderful insights on what they're doing. So as Tostan, as we wait for questions, we really encourage partnership, and we believe that communities are our #1 partners. We work with the individual NGOs, local grassroots NGOs as well, and also donors. We partner with them, not only for funding purposes, but also to influence some decision-making in terms of what works in the real sense. Like what they have all shared, all the panelists have shared. These are things that cannot be achieved overnight. They have to be done across a longer time, and that means committed funding. So thanks, Funke, for those great insights. So questions, if there are no questions, I will maybe give our panelists another round of maybe if they have one thing as we wait for questions before we wrap up. And I will start with Ruth this time as the authorizing environment. Welcome, Ruth. Maybe your final submission.
Godfrey. Yeah, final submission is to achieve a sustainable community of well-being where everyone strives. It is very important to invest in people through empowering them over a period of time. Very, very important, because money is power. So when people are economically empowered, socially empowered, the nation will be at peace. Some of these issues of unrest that we are having, or unnecessary unrest in terms of when you look at Nigeria, we have the Boko Haram, the kidnappers and others. If people are economically empowered, I think some of these unruly behaviors within the country will be to some extent minimal. So it is good to invest in people, and most especially I look at my project, the women in particular, because when the women are empowered, I think to some extent the children would have a kind of sense of control in terms of their social nature, the education, empowerment, and so on and so forth. So thank you, and thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank Tostan on this note, because I don't know, I'll still come back, our able moderator on this. So I want to thank everyone, and we are always available. If there are any inquiry, comment, you need to hear feedback from us, we are just a phone call away, and so we are reachable. You log into Nigeria for Women Project, our website is available, so you can always reach us there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ruth, and thank you very much for those comments. Now to Uthman, your final submission.
My final submission will be to thank Tostan, thank our mother, our big mommy, Molly. Thank you, Pauline. She was seriously running after me to ensure that I cooperate. And I also want to thank my brother, Godfrey. He's a member of our team, our village. Then back then in Chess, when we were undergoing our training. And more importantly, is an issue of partnering. So I look forward to partnering, through NASFAT, partnering with Funke and partnering with Ruth. And I want to believe that Godfrey will do we link us together, do the marriage between the three of us. Thank you very much. And I look forward to having more sessions like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uthman. And that is why I am actually in Nigeria, to build the synergies and make sure that we are all together and work together as partners. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, Funke, final submission, because you are on top of the hour.
I don't have more, just to say thank you for listening, everyone, and let's keep reaching out our hands across borders, across thematic areas, across regions, to see how we can all work together, because the world is no longer a global village. It's just a Google Meet or Zoom call away, and we can always find ways to partner and also be open to other means of partnership. And I'm saying this because particularly whenever we say collaboration and partnership, the first thing that comes to mind is funding, but always to advise that we should explore other ways of partnership and not just rely on funding, because sometimes funding is not always the answer. There are other ways to partner, and funding would always come. And we should also understand that the funding landscape is also shrinking. So innovative ideas to change how we explore partnership and what partnership means to us would really be helpful. Thank you. And thanks for having me, and thanks for listening. I've tried to respond to as many of the questions as I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Funke. Thank you very much, Ruth. And thank you very much, Imam Uthman. And also thank you very much to our amazing attendees, partners who joined us today. And we are really, really amazed and impressed for your patience, even though we didn't respond to most of your questions. But We are always available at Tostan, as we shared our website. Feel free to reach out, and we are still in Nigeria. Feel free, Uche. Feel free, you can reach out to us. Like next week, we'll be operating from Ruth's office, so feel free to reach out. We'll be available to answer any question and have further discussion. And also just to inform you that we are having our next webinar. As I said at the beginning, these are series of webinar. So our next webinar is scheduled for November 18th. And this time around, we'll be talking about global partnership and looking at how can this also achieve help to achieve the vision of well-being for our communities at the grassroots levels. So thank you very much, and feel at home. Jerry Jeff, Jamre, Asante Sana.
Thank you everyone for joining. Bye.
Jerry Jeff.
Bye-bye.